next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
One of the greatest things that have been attributed to MMOs, but they are actually sorely lacking, is customization. And not only for characters' appearances, but also playstyles, abilities, and progression, as well as the roles within the game itself. And within the title of massive multiplayer online game, you'd have to think that there's a way for you to create a character that stands out amidst the sea of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other players. You might also expect there to be a large, beautiful terrain that you would actually want to explore. You might even expect combat that's challenging and immersive, and you would, at minimum, expect to at least have fun. But what do you get as a consumer of MMOs? No! Stand in this area and click your mouse once. Your character will now auto-attack for 5 minutes. Do this 10 times and then I'll give you some deer scraps. You can trade deer scraps for 1 bronze coin. Oh, I'm sorry, does that sound tedious? Just spend $200 in real life and get 50 gold. With that, you can buy gear that's locked until you've reached level 60. What? You want to get to level 60? Well, you have to keep doing these brain-dead missions where you auto-attack enemies that look like they were made out of Play-Doh! How fun! Isn't this better than real life? No, it's not. The whole point of gaming is to create an escape from real life, to simulate adventures and experiences that I could not otherwise have in the real world. I should prefer video games to schoolwork, but honestly, as of right now, I'd rather go to my public speaking class than stay home and play any MMO that exists on the market. What about teamwork, huh? The multiplayer aspect is the main staple of MMOs, so how does that work? Can my character sacrifice himself and do some sweet ultimate move that lets my party escape? Is there ever a time when someone's gonna need to charge a really powerful attack so everyone will have to protect them until they can release it? Can we team up and do some joint attack for additional damage? Can I make new divide play in game while I cast my ultimate? So give me No, because you see, what multiplayer actually means is, once you both spawn in separately and reach a certain level separately, then you can go both auto-attack polygons together. This is of course assuming that you're both in the same server or clan or whatever stipulation the game laid out for making friends impossible to find. What about graphics, huh? I'm sure they at least have amazing graphics to make up for the absolutely antiquated system of I could do this while in a coma gaming. Well, did you ever see the trailer for Star Wars: The Old Republic? Now, do you want to know what the actual game looks like?
He must be mistaken.
What are these things? Animals?
What about World of Warcraft? What about Guild Wars? What about Blade and Soul? Now, I'm not expecting lifelike graphics. In fact, I'd be much more happy with some low polygon stylized graphics to the frickin' PS2 haggard looking models we're getting right now. If it looked like some Unity engine tutorial, I would be happy. Maybe one day you can work your way up to Zelda Breath of the Wild, but in the meantime, focus on the combat and focus on the missions. That's where the fun comes from, not the graphics. Do you think everyone enjoyed Zelda Ocarina of Time, Kingdom Hearts, and Half-Life because of their graphics? No! Now I'm gonna say something kind of controversial, and most of you will likely go and dislike the video and comment saying something like, "This guy has clearly never touched a controller in his life." But it needs to be said. Destiny 1, at its peak, was the closest game to a passable MMO. Now I know a lot of you do not like Destiny. I myself am not a big fan of Destiny and it has loads of problems, but I spent hundreds of hours on that game because it nailed a few things really well. The combat was fast enough to remain interesting. To an extent, if you had several exotic weapons and you're cycling through them, that made for a pretty fun time. as did the abilities that you would slowly progress over time, but the main thing it nailed was the movement. It felt so fast, but also had a significant weight to it. Platforming was annoying, but also rewarding and made for some really funny moments, especially during raids. And the graphics were gorgeous, and the customization was just good enough that none of my friends and I looked exactly the same. I also think that first person and emotes made for a much more immersive experience. There were also only 3 classes, each with 2 subclasses, later 3 subclasses, and that's fine, but they all play exactly the same. The Titan didn't have more health than the other classes, Warlocks couldn't heal or do any cool special damage, and the Hunters could turn invisible. I mean, that was kinda cool, but that was about it. But it's 2020 now, the year where Sword Art Online was supposed to exist. But instead of technology that captures your senses and body movements into a game, we have the Nintendo Switch! Whoa! If an immersive, customizable game that focused on interesting gameplay and good multiplayer existed, everyone would be playing it. When I was in high school, it didn't matter who you were, nearly everyone was playing Fortnite. In that game, oh my gosh, there's no skill tree. The graphics look like a mobile game, but people like it because it is fun. People also like to play games that they know other people are playing because most people are at least a little bit competitive. And when you have a game that not only the gamers are playing, but the athletes are playing, you're creating a struggle for power within the gaming community. Now imagine a good fantasy game exists, and it becomes the talk of the town. Imagine nearly everyone plays this game, each with a distinctly customized character that you could run into at any time within the virtual world. And imagine the football players have a guild, and the computer engineers have a guild, and the drama students have a guild, and they talk about it all the time because the game is so good that even after they log off, they're still thinking about it. Whoever makes this game will easily dominate the market. Video games haven't introduced anything new or innovative for over a decade, and it's time they step it up. Maybe instead of annually releasing the same game and finding legal ways to rip off your consumers, you could actually make a good game. You could actually make a massive multiplayer game.